When life becomes a routine of responsibilities, many people forget that sometimes the smallest decision can lead to the biggest change. For Daniel, a single dad raising his little son Noah, life had become a constant cycle of work, chores, and making sure his child never felt the absence of a mother. After his wife passed away years ago, Daniel promised himself that he would raise Noah with double the love, double the courage, and double the kindness. But he never imagined that one ordinary evening would test his humanity in a way he had never experienced before. It was a cold night, the kind of night when even the streetlights looked tired. Daniel was returning home from work, and Noah had fallen asleep in the back seat, clutching his tiny blanket. The road ahead was empty, almost silent, until suddenly Daniel noticed something strange, a car parked at an odd angle near the woods, its headlights flickering. At first, he thought maybe someone had a flat tire. But something inside him whispered that something was wrong. He slowed down, pulled his car over, and stepped outside. The cold wind hit him immediately, but what struck him harder was the faint sound of someone struggling to breathe. He followed the sound, and there, lying on the ground beside the damaged car, was a woman. Her clothes were torn, her uniform stained with blood, and her hand was weakly gripping the corner of her badge. She was a police officer. Daniel's heart pounded. He knelt beside her. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" he asked softly. Her eyes fluttered open, filled with pain. "Help, please," she whispered. Without hesitation, Daniel took off his jacket and wrapped it around her. His instinct screamed at him to get help immediately, but when she grabbed his wrist, he froze. They might come back," she said, her voice trembling with fear. "Please, don't leave me alone." Daniel didn't know who they were, but he didn't need to. The fear in her eyes said enough. He carefully lifted her and brought her to his car. Noah was still asleep, unaware of the life-changing moment unfolding around him. Daniel placed the officer gently on the back seat beside Noah and drove as fast as he could toward the nearest hospital. Her breathing grew weaker, her head leaned against the window. For the first time in years, Daniel prayed loudly, desperately. He didn't want this stranger's life to slip away in the darkness of that night. Upon reaching the hospital, doctors rushed her into emergency care. As they pushed her stretcher down the hallway, she looked at Daniel one last time and whispered, "Thank you, for not leaving me." Those words stayed with him long after she disappeared behind the doors of the operating room. Hours passed. Noah was awake now, sitting on Daniel's lap, sensing the tension. "Daddy, is the lady going to be okay?" he asked innocently. Daniel kissed the top of his head and replied, "I hope so, buddy. We did what we could." It was almost dawn when a group of police officers walked into the waiting room. They had serious expressions at first, but when they spotted Daniel, their faces softened. One of them introduced himself as Chief Roberts. He explained that the injured officer, whose name was Officer Emily Carter, had been ambushed by two criminals she had been tracking for weeks. She managed to escape but collapsed before reaching help. If Daniel hadn't stopped, she would not have survived the night. "You didn't just help an officer," the chief said. "You saved a daughter, a sister, and one of the bravest women on our force." Daniel felt overwhelmed. He wasn't a hero. He was just a man who couldn't drive past a human being in pain. Hours later, the doctor finally came out and confirmed that Emily was stable. She wanted to see the man who saved her life. When Daniel walked into her room, she tried to smile despite the tubes and bandages. Her voice was soft but full of gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. Daniel shook his head. Anyone would have done the same. But Emily disagreed. "No. Many would have been too afraid. Many would have kept driving. You stopped. You saved me." From that day, a silent bond formed between them. Daniel visited the hospital every evening after work, bringing Noah with him. Noah would sit by Emily's bedside, showing her his drawings and making her laugh even when she was in pain. Emily, who never had children of her own, found comfort in their presence. During her recovery, she learned about Daniel's life, how he worked 2 jobs, how he cooked dinner every night for Noah, how he always tried to stay strong even when life was heavy. Emily admired his strength. Daniel admired her courage. And Noah simply loved her. Weeks passed, and the police department began investigating the incident. Whenever they needed to speak with Emily, she always asked Daniel to stay in the room. His presence made her feel safe. She wasn't just healing physically, she was healing emotionally too. One evening, as Daniel and Noah prepared to leave the hospital, Emily held Daniel's hand. You didn't just save my life, she said. You gave me a reason to keep fighting. Daniel felt something shift inside him. It had been years since anyone looked at him with such sincerity. Years since he felt that his existence mattered deeply to someone. When Emily fully recovered and returned to duty, the police force organized a ceremony to honor Daniel. The entire department attended, along with local news reporters. But Daniel didn't feel like he deserved recognition. He stood on stage nervously, holding Noah's hand, as the chief handed him a medal of civilian bravery. Emily stepped forward and gave her own speech. A man who asks for nothing deserves everything, she said, looking directly at Daniel. He didn't save me because I was an officer. He saved me because I was human. And that is the purest form of heroism. Her words touched everyone in the room. After the ceremony, Emily walked up to Daniel. You changed the course of my life that night, she said. And I want to be part of yours, if you'll allow me. Daniel wasn't expecting it. He took a deep breath and replied, Emily, you're already part of our lives. From that moment, they began seeing each other more often, not out of obligation, but out of genuine connection. Emily joined them for dinners, helped Noah with school projects, and even accompanied them to the park. Noah adored her. Daniel grew closer to her every day. She wasn't there to replace Noah's mother. She was simply someone who cared deeply, someone who brought warmth into their home. And slowly, without forcing anything, Emily became the missing piece in their family. Months later, on a quiet Sunday morning, Noah looked at Daniel and whispered, Daddy, is Emily going to stay with us forever? Daniel smiled, glancing at Emily who was making pancakes in the kitchen. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for sure. Some people enter your life by accident, others by choice, but the rarest ones arrive by destiny. They had all been broken in different ways. Daniel had lost love. Emily had lost safety. Noah had lost a mother. But somehow, kindness had brought them together. A single act of courage on a cold night had rebuilt 3 lives that didn't even know they needed each other. Sometimes, the smallest decision, like stopping your car on a lonely road, becomes the beginning of a new story. A story where strangers become family, fear becomes strength, and pain becomes the foundation for unexpected love. In the end, it wasn't just Daniel's bravery that touched hearts. It was the reminder that humanity still exists, that kindness still saves lives, and that even in the darkest moments, one person's compassion can light up the world. And for Daniel, Emily, and Noah, that night was not the end of a story, it was the beginning of a miracle they would cherish forever.